Yes, we start on Sunday. On Sunday,
Yeah.
we set off on that. But yeah, I took an amazing nap this early afternoon on a daybed that is suspended from they love to suspend all of their kind of pool loungers and beach loungers from like they're almost like swings.
Oh,
So when there's a breeze or you're getting onto or off of it, like you get a kind of nice like rocking sensation, which is also really helpful for putting you into a super sleepy, meditative, like good luck trying to stay awake in one of those things after enough sun. And yeah, it was just sound of the ocean, water,
oh,
a
that
beautiful
sounds
breeze.
that sounds amazing. Well, I mean, I'm in some ways I feel like it's good to know that you're human and that you experience jet lag just like the rest of us. But I
Totally.
feel like when we traveled to Japan together a few years ago, and you were coming off, like you went into that trip. We were in Tokyo, and you had just finished a trip, I think in Italy or somewhere. And oh,
Yeah.
I see a Padma Auntie sighting.
She is here. She is in the
Amazing.
building. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, with Tokyo, you were coming off of like you were in Europe, then you had gone back to the United States, and then you came to Tokyo. And I don't know if this was the same thing as what you're experiencing now, but after a few days, your body just was like, okay, I'm out. Like I need to sleep. Like there was, I think, at least one day where you slept like most of the day, and you were also a little under the weather too. But your body was just like, I'm done. I just need to rest.
Being under the weather, yeah, the pace of travel, and then I think what really got me that trip was the group of people that we were with, and learning about what some of these influencers were making for a single static post, and comparing that to what what I do for a living and the rates that journalism pays, which are pretty much in the toilet at this point. Just like, what is like I was having a massive reckoning on all these levels and then not feeling well on top of it. So it was definitely a recipe for like we're in one of the most amazing cities in the world and I cannot get out of bed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we might talk about influencers like later in this session, and I feel like
Yeah.
yeah, more and more it really does seem like I don't know, like what are we all doing? Like, did we all not that we all choose the wrong careers, but it's like we're feeding a machine that we also criticize and that has a lot of flaws. And anyway, all of that.
I know.
How is it traveling with your mom? I mean, I know you guys travel often together, but I feel like that's a bit of a
Yeah. Well, so I've been to Kalilo, this resort, and the island of Eos twice before, and so it's really nice to be able to bring her here. She's heard so much about it. She hasn't been to Greece before, and it's kind of it's an ideal place for people who, if you don't need to do a lot of stuff, like if you don't need a lot on the agenda to kind of fill out your day and you're happy with a book and some, great food and a place to sit and read and go take a dip in the pool or the ocean, like that's pretty much what you do here. There is an incredible spa too, and a huge fitness center that makes you feel like you're in a cave, but there's also a lot of light. It's like I'll post pictures of it, but yeah, I think it's ideal. It's ideal for us because we're both very good at like not had like running around and packing a day with 8 different activities would not work.
Mhm.
So this is so far it's been great. Like we did do activities in Athens. We had like 5 hours between landing and getting on the ferry to come here. And she wanted to see the Acropolis.
Of
So
course.
we went to the Acropolis Museum, the outdoor area around there. It's been so hot that they had to close it for safety. So
Oh, wow.
it yeah, but I think, for the time that we had, we made the most of the time that we had. Like had we had a whole half day or a night or two to do Athens sightseeing, I'm sure we would have filled it up, but it's kind of nice to have the constraints sometimes because you're just like, you know what, this is it. we're going to see what we can see and take some pictures and
Yeah.
soak up the knowledge that this archaeologist who works at the Acropolis Museum kindly gave us this incredible like tour. Who was that guy with the cars that used to talk really fast? Do you know who I'm talking about? Like oh my gosh, it's like a figure of our childhood, like a pop culture, the Micro Machines, the Micro Machines
Oh
guy.
gosh, yeah. Wow, I hadn't thought about a micro machine in a long time. Okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about though. Yeah.
The way that this archaeologist was talking about she was so learned, but the speed at which the information was coming out reminded me of that. And I major respect to anyone who can do that and make it and walk backwards and make it look easy.
Yeah, wow. That's really cool. I mean, I went to Greece and the Acropolis. It was a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. And it's funny. I mean, the day that I was there, it wasn't closed, but it was extraordinarily hot.
Yeah.
And it really makes you, I mean, I remember thinking, having this thought recently too, because I was seeing some folks in my social media who'd gone to Japan in the summer, which is rainy season. And so they had a lot of pictures, like, in the rain with umbrellas and everything. And it really makes you think about how, like obviously weather is so unpredictable, but how much of a difference weather can make on a vacation, especially if it's like an international vacation that, it's like a place that you may not go to again, or you may not go to again for a really long time. Because yeah, I mean, while I remember being amazed by the Acropolis, I also equally remember how hot and miserable it was. Like like it just totally took away from the experience because we were so uncomfortable the entire time.
That's how I felt when Nikhil and I saw it. I think it was 4 years ago. Like, and you feel guilty because you want to spend longer and appreciate it more, but it's the middle of July and it's 102 degrees and you're baking beneath the sun, and it's just
Yeah.
you can appreciate as much as you can, and I think don't feel guilty about it because yeah, there's a limit. The same thing happened to me at the Colosseum in Rome, where it was another super hot day, and also like even though it's a big space, when there are a lot of crowds, and that factors into the feeling of not claustrophobia, but just like, okay, there's just a lot going on here, and I need a breather. That has happened to me there too. I will say though, going back to the jet lag tips, contrary to what all the advice I just said about like what makes EOS so great, if you actually really do want to beat it, just pack a whole bunch of stuff into the schedule that you can't cancel, or that you land, and then especially that first day, I think if we didn't have these plans lined up,
Yeah.
I would have ended up like sleeping in a ferry terminal or something, because
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to keep my eyes open past a certain point. So it was good that we just, had a great lunch, met a friend, like went to this museum, did the hour-long tour. By the time we got to the port, the thing was boarding. And yeah, I would say like first day in any city, if you really want to make the most of it and not succumb to jet lag, just overschedule yourself. And then when you get to the island, beach, whatever part where you're supposed to relax, you will actually relax, because it'll all finally hit you.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like staying active is a good way to just force yourself to be awake. I mean, I also think I like don't mind on vacations. It depends on the vacation, of course, but I don't mind like an early bedtime. So I kind
Oh,
of
not
like,
at all.
yeah, so I kind of like the idea. Like sometimes I'm trying to think of whether we did this in Turkey. Not really, because of our flights and stuff, and we had busy schedules. We just didn't have an option. But like, kind of building into the schedule, like early morning, doing a bunch of stuff, maybe a nap, and then having like an early dinner, and then going to bed by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, so that like you slowly start to get kind of back into a routine. But I really like the day, like sandwiched between activities. You got to have an activity that forces you to get up. Like otherwise the nap will become sleep. So if you have like a dinner reservation or some things, you're like, okay, I have to actually get out of bed.
Right.
But I feel like that kind of works for me.
Yeah, I love an early dinner when I'm traveling, when like in a vacation place, especially in a place where there is actually a lot of nightlife in EOS, a ton in the town center, which is like maybe 30 minutes away from here. And this is actually
your mom
really
to the clubs.
You know what? We are going to a club to watch the sunset tonight, an outdoor. Yeah, it's called Tacos. It's an outdoor, like, they've got a DJ, they've got dancers, they've got a beautiful head-on view of the sunset, and that should be really cool. But yeah, we are not going to. I don't think we're going to stay that long after the marquee attraction of the sun setting. Although we will have dinner there, and I believe they have sushi. And I'm like, as much as I adore Greek salad, I'm pretty much living on it. I'm ready for like a different flavor profile.
A change up. I remember when I went to Greece, it was in Mykonos, I think. Maybe it was Santorini, but I think it was Mykonos. And it was 20 years ago. So it was in my mid 20s or early 20s. And, you know, we like going out up until that point, like going to Cornell, we didn't go out really, like just there were a couple of local bars. And then,
right.
And then after that, mostly my going out was in DC or New York City when I would come visit you guys. But when I went to Greece, I have like, oh my God, I remember so distinctly like my total shock at the fact that like it was 10 p.m. and like the bar club, we went to one of these clubs like on the beach. It was totally empty.
Right.
Didn't show up. People didn't start showing up till like 12 or 1. And then everyone stayed until sunrise. And I was like, okay, this is incredible. But like, and the thing that was amazing was that a lot of the people there were locals. Like it wasn't just you know, the tourists that were doing this. This was just like the locals and their regular kind of Friday night out or Thursday night out. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. I could never, I mean, I literally, as soon as the sun started to peek out, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like
it's time to find a cab, time to go.
Check that box, stayed
right.
We did it. Sunrise. We did it. Do not want to hear any more EDM house music. Like it was just,
ears are bleeding. Yeah.
Ears are bleeding. But it was like it's such a different vibe than like Vegas. Like Vegas is the only place in the United States where I think I've like stayed out that late until the morning and it's just, which is so different from being on a beach or in the open air and you can see the stars and it's that's, don't get me wrong, I love a Vegas experience too. We've gone on record about that several times on this podcast, but there is something about like an outdoor, maybe it's just, a foreign country, like a different setting and knowing that, things are relatively safe. People are here to be hospitable and have a good time. And for the most part, as long as you're not like waving your wallet around and like inviting people to come rob you, you're going to be fine. But I think that there's international club. I mean, we did that in Mexico, in Oaxaca, when we went to the Umbra like festival.
That's right.
We were out.
That's right.
We stayed out till 6 or 7. I don't remember.
We did. We definitely did. I think I have some pictures with daylight from we were determined to make it. I think out of the group of people that we were there with, I think we may have been the only ones that were obviously not involved in the performing or like the putting on of this music festival. But I think that we decided somewhere around like 2 o'clock in the morning, like, okay, listen, we're gonna hunker down. We're gonna make it through.
It's a bizarre feeling when you're like things have just sort of gone off the rails. When you're at a club, you haven't slept, you've stayed, you're outdoors, you have music that's been like pumping into music and drinks and other things that like, pumping into into your body, and then you start to hear people say that they want coffee because it's like now morning. I don't know if you remember this, but there was someone on the
No,
trip.
I don't remember that. People were
There was
wanting coffee.
there
That's
was
so
one person
funny.
on the trip that was just like, it was 7 a.m. They're like, I need coffee, and we were just like, wait, what? Like,
What?
this is the end of the road. We are going to bed. We are having coffee post sleep, but yeah, that's cool though. I'm sure the
that's so
sunset will
funny.
be beautiful there.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be beautiful. It's also, I do love people watching. That is also one of just all-time favorite pastime to do anywhere, but especially in a foreign country and
Mm-hmm.
at a nightlife venue where you've got like so many different walks of life. Having been to this place before, it's like you've got people of my mom's generation, you've got our age, you have 18-year-olds or 16-year-olds who are here for their first time, like traveling without their parents and with a bunch of friends, and who are just like looking to have a wild, crazy night. And I feel like those are all kind of crucial ingredients for if you want to have a party that is fun for all these groups of people, you have to have some representation of like diversity in there. So yeah, this place is a very good example of that.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I feel like I need to go back to Greece because I went to Greece the same time that I went to Istanbul, and like
Mm,
it was a long time ago. It was almost 20 years ago, and I'm sure it would just be a very different experience going there now as a 40 something than it was in my
totally.
20s. Um, and like one of the things I wanted to talk about is like you obviously travel so much and you go internationally for work and fun, sometimes the same places that you've already been, which is not something that like a lot of people do,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes people will be like, okay, this is a once in a lifetime, like, next time I'm going to go somewhere I haven't been before. Probably that's probably more similar to how I operate. So like
hmm,
Japan is an example. Like we went to Tokyo and then I went to Japan again a few years later and did Tokyo again, but went to some other places. And now I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be going back anytime super soon, even though I loved
sure.
it and want to. But in Turkey, part of the reason why I was thinking about this is because like sometimes I feel like if you've done something, especially if you don't have like a great experience, you can say, okay, been there, done that, like not really interested in
Yeah.
trying it again. But in Turkey, Juan and I did a Turkish bath, a hammam again, which is something that,
Oh, cool.
yeah, something that I had done. Sorry, when my lights just turned off. Something that I had done on that trip, 20 years ago when I went, and did not have like the best experience because it was just. Have you ever done a Turkish bath?
I actually did one. I did one in Georgia. I've done one in Maldives, but that was more of like a like hammam spa sort
Oh,
of experience. It's not like it's somewhat traditional, but I mean, a typical Turkish bath is communal, right? And
yes.
it's, yeah, a little bit
It,
like a Korean spa.
exactly. So like when I went the first time, the place that we were at the hammam we went to was more traditional. So it was like communal, and there were just a lot of aspects of it that felt so like different from what we're used to, here. So, you go into you can noticeably identify the Americans because you go into this like locker room to change, and all the Americans like wear bathing suits, like whereas like everyone else
Right.
is like is at least topless. They're just wearing bottoms,
Sure.
and but all the Americans are wearing like full on like bikinis or bathing suits, and then you go into this big sort of sauna with a huge piece of marble, and you just like lay there in the really hot temperatures. Which again, at the time I was like, is this kind of gross? Like, am I just like laying on someone else's
Sure.
sweat? Like, what's happening?
Right.
Um, and and then like the person who's in charge of giving you the bath after a certain amount of time will like tap you on the shoulder and like take you to like the side of the space where there's a table set up, and she scrubbed me down, and it was just like I think the entire time the main feeling in my mind was like I'm uncomfortable. And so that prevented literally
Yeah.
thing from feeling like the woman who like was, I don't know what you call her, but the woman who worked there that was, giving me the treatment, she was topless and was like just like very aggressive about, like me taking, like, like not having the swimsuit on, covering as much of my body. And so the whole thing, it was just like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. And
Yeah, yeah. So
obviously
she was like, "You're making my job harder," basically, by wearing this thing.
this bikini, that was, I think it was part of it, like you're making my job harder or it's not going to be as effective. And I also want to be
Sure.
mindful, like for cultural reasons and stuff too, like they, it's like the hammam is something that's existed for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah,
And so there's also like a cultural aspect, that not to say that they were
sure.
offended by it, but probably more just like, this is not how you do it, like
Right,
you don't
right.
cover your body.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I just remember being like really uncomfortable. Like, yeah, just very, very uncomfortable. And after I left, I was like, I feel super clean, but I don't know if I would do this again because, like, because the discomfort. Anyway, fast
Sure.
forward 20 years later, we went to a Turkish bath again. This one was a little bit different because it's the only hammam in Istanbul that that isn't gender segregated. Like couples or
Oh, okay.
families can all go in together into the same space.
Okay.
So you do wear, like, they give you like shorts and like a little kind of bikini top, that you are encouraged to wear because it is co-ed. So
Sure.
that part was a little bit different, but I'm really glad that like we did it again. Part of the reason why we did it is, we were in Istanbul, we had an extra day, like felt like it'd be like a really nice thing to experience. And both Juan and I ended up like loving it. It was one of our favorite
Oh,
things,
that's so great.
experiences, because it was just so, the space was super beautiful. Of course, you can't take pictures. I wish you could, but the space was super beautiful because tourism was slow the time we were there. We were the only ones there, so it was
Oh, wow.
private, even though,
Okay.
technically could have been communal. Yeah, so that was incredible.
So is it one of those that do you like book a certain block of time? Like, could other people have come in while you were there or
Yeah, they could have. There's still that center slab, and then there are all these little like rooms. There were like 4 or 5 little
got it?
open kind of crevices on, or little areas along the side, that others, if they were there, would have been into, but just happened to be that no one else was there. So we had the entire space to
Incredible.
ourselves. Yeah, and it was just so. It was just such a good experience. I think because I obviously am more mature. I've done it once before, so I knew kind of some of the things to expect. It was also nice that like we, bonus that we had the whole place to ourselves, and it was just one of
Yeah.
those like, okay, I'm glad that I didn't just write this off after the first experience,
Sure.
and that I
Like, I'm
tried
never gonna
it.
do this again.
Yeah, that I tried it again, and like it was also just different too because I know, I think back when I went 20 years ago, obviously the internet existed, but I don't think we had cell phones. Like, I don't think my cell phone worked internationally.
Sure.
I think I was in airplane mode, meaning that like I don't think I was doing as much like research and like, so I think now it's also different because I not only did I know what to expect from having like done it once before, but I also could like read up on it, find the spa that like lets you you and your partner be in the
Yeah.
same space, even if you're different gendered. And like, yeah, it was just a much better experience. So yeah, I'm like a big now, like it was just a good reminder to not not to say that I don't want to go to new places. Like certainly there's so many new places that I want to
Right.
visit. But I kind of think it was this like, yeah, I don't know. I had this inclination of like, oh, don't go to places you've already gone before because, but I'm like, okay,
Yes.
now that we're in our 40s, we've been to places 20 years ago. Like it's just, it might as well go again. It's a very different
For
experience.
sure. Yeah, and have a totally different experience. I think it's also I also love checking out new places, but I think when you find the sort of destination, whether it's a city or a place or a resort or whatever it is where you just feel like, okay, is checking all of these boxes, and I'm taking my mom on a trip for her 80th birthday, and this is the ideal place to start because you get the taste of Greece, you get I know that the food is going to be great for her, I know that the accommodations are going to be incredible, and you're just taking guesswork out of the equation, which I'm actually going to be writing about this particular trip, but also in like I get asked all the time, like tips for traveling with your parents, or especially like in the era that we're in now, where parents can't like necessarily move as quickly as before. You're doing like the multi-generational trip that you did last a couple weeks ago, and you're looking. I think there are a lot of people. Listen, maybe this has always been the case, and we're just like discovering this now because we're in our 40s, and we have parents and families who like to travel, and we're the people who are planning a lot of it. But there are considerations that, like, yeah, if I'm just picking up and like going for a weekend with Nick Hill, I can do so little work in my brain because I know like it's going to be very simple. Take a little carry-on bag, like we're done. This is like a whole different equation, and also just like the pace of the day, but it's also, I'm seeing a different side of this island than I did the past few times I was here, where I did have, I think each of those trips, like a late night out in town, which was super fun. I think we bought a bunch of sweatshirts from one of the clubs that no one has worn since, because
it felt right in the moment.
It felt so right in the moment. It felt like we ran into a bunch of people at a bar who had also gone to Cornell, but I think a couple like graduated a couple years after us, and we're so stunned by that revelation that we ended up going to 2 or 3 more places together. But like that's the stuff that happens here.
Yeah.
And then you can do that, and then you can come back and just like eat fruit with your mom and go to the spa and like read a book, and some places are worth the revisit.
That sounds incredible. I know. I obviously, after going back to Istanbul and feeling like how different it was, I totally agree. And I think like the company that you travel with really does change the experience.
Absolutely.
I love traveling with my family, but you're right. It does require, especially with my parents, a little bit more coordination, everything from making sure like that there's good vegetarian food options to like my mom's recovering from knee surgery. So kind of making sure we're not signing up for anything that's going to involve too much walking,
right?
Like being mindful of the heat and making sure, we have like a really nice, like air conditioned transportation that everyone can comfortably sit in. There's so many things.
Yeah, I know. I think we're definitely much more willing to throw caution to the wind. Although in my increasingly older age, I'm also like, wait, I also for myself want to make sure that the AC works. And
I was going to say, I don't think of you and Nick Hill as throwing caution to the wind. But I do get that within a certain kind of framing, you don't need as much, like you don't have as many questions or requests because you kind of know
exactly.
Yeah.
Or also, like vegetarian options, say something like that. Like that's a big, like another reason why I thought Greece would be so great with her, because they have incredible salads and meze, and it was going to be like that part of the equation is taken care of. But the diet considerations were, I think like Japan with my mom would be really hard.
Yeah, it is. That I think it is harder. Or like what my parents do sometimes when they travel with their friends is like they'll go to Indian restaurants abroad. Like they'll find it. So it's such a different experience because eating is not something that they actually like really relish in when it comes to travel. Which is just
Yeah.
so different than a lot of us who associate travel with like having food from that region.
Yeah, like my mom just said as we were coming in here, she said it's incredible that these resorts now have such five-star food too. And to me, I was like, is it like, of course they do, but no, of course it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always that, you know, these things went hand in hand. You could have like a really beautiful hotel or accommodation, and their menu could just be like steak and chicken fingers and hamburger and like a plate of pasta. And yeah,
Exactly.
good luck with that.
That's all you're gonna get. Also, I really like this necklace, shirt, hair combo. You've got a whole look.
Yeah. Oh, yes. My curly girl era is in full effect.
Looks
I
great.
finally washed my hair yesterday, and yes, it felt so good to just let it air dry and see what happens. That is the way that I'm throwing caution to the wind. I just I'm like, if we're putting in the product, and then
No
however
hair
this
tools
wants
being
to.
used. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not even taking the hair dryer in the room out of the bag. We're just gonna wing it. But this necklace is actually, I got here at Kalilo the first time that I visited. They have a really great boutique, and I think it was we had to like leave to go catch the ferry, and I hadn't been in at all, and went in, saw this, it caught my eye, and just felt like I you know, when you just feel desperate for something to remember a place by, and you've got
Yeah.
as much as all the photos, all the videos, I'm like, all right, we're gonna pick this up too. And I also was very inspired by all the beautiful Greek women that populate this place, that wear their jewelry, the jewelry and the sandals and the outfits, and it's always they're a vision, their
Mm.
vision. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna try to get a little piece of that vision ourselves.
Yeah, take some of that energy. Well, you look like a vision right now, so it's working.
You look like a morning vision. I'm actually surprised. Do you have coffee over there?
I do have coffee.
Okay.
I've
Oh,
been,
a nice little
yeah, I've been on.
Starbucks.
I know. I've been like, we didn't have Starbucks for a really long time, for a variety of reasons, and but recently I've gotten back into my Starbucks
Wait, why
order.
weren't you? I know you have a Keurig.
We also have a coffee maker that we got, that we've been better about trying to, because really like we were ordering, not just like, we were going out and getting coffee for a period, and like between both of our drink orders, it would almost always be like 15 or 16 bucks a day. And at some point we were like, we should stop. This is really quite crazy to spend $20 like before you've even like not even a meal.
Right before the day's even begun.
Yeah. So then we went through a phase where we were really good about like just brewing our coffee at home, and but then like I think with traveling and everything else, went back to like, okay, just getting, coffee out. And I think I need to, this is the hack for me, is I really like Starbucks. I get a venti. Like this is insanely huge. And I think but right, when I have coffee at home, I have it like, I would have it in like a regular coffee mug. So I think for me, I really like the slow sipping of a large drink over the course of like, we've been talking for 37 minutes, and I'm not even like, a quarter of the way through it. So usually this coffee I'll like sip over the course of like an hour and a half. So I think the hack for me is like, even when I brew it at home, like I need to, like I have those like tumblers or Yetis, like, but I need to consume it in like a 16 ounce or like a ginormous thing, because otherwise it just doesn't feel as satisfying.
It's funny. I like my coffee. I have 2 cups a day, and I like them to be in a cup that's pretty much like the size of maybe a little bit bigger than this. Like this for me is great for espresso. Which, and by the way, I've used the kettle in here like every day since since I've been here.
Did you
Just
wash
juicing.
it first? Did you wash it first?
I rinsed it out.
Okay.
I mean, wash it. I guess I could have put soap in there, but again, like I looked at it and
there was no sign that anyone had made lasagna in it.
no sign that anyone had used it to make lasagna, to clean their laundry, to make rice, boil eggs. All of that stuff could have happened in it, and who knows what more. But no, I'm choosing to remember all the things that I don't have control over that could still like when you go to a restaurant, you have no idea, like, did your piece of chicken just fall on the floor before it was picked back up and like put back on a plate? Or we can go through the laundry list of horrible things that could happen,
right.
that you could eventually end up consuming. But yeah, I just look at it. I'm like, you know what? It looks fine. It looks fine. We're just going to rinse it out and go with it. And remember that, to my knowledge, I've never gotten any kind of illness from having hot water out of a kettle in a hotel. So
yeah, I mean, it's safer than lettuce. So
safer than lettuce. It's that, yeah. I'm like, what do people? I don't know why I think that it's an American thing for people to clean their underwear and socks
it probably
these machines.
Is.
Yeah, I feel like people from other countries wouldn't do that. So that may also be willful ignorance and a huge bias on my part. But I'm just like, yeah, they're not going to do that here. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Other than maybe the American tourists that go there. But no, I think you're fine. I mean, I like that rather than you believing in the good of humanity and saying like, well, part of it is you're believing in the good of non-Americans and saying they wouldn't do this. But then also just saying like, yeah, I can't control it. So I'm just going to, a little bit of like a don't ask, don't tell, like don't question it. Just,
exactly.
Best. Yeah.
Exactly. I just, I think that we all take so many leaps of faith whenever we leave our house. So I'm just considering this another one of those. We're just we're gonna attempt to enjoy the experience and not wonder how it might contaminate us.
Yeah,
that's
a good approach.
So yes, that's the long way of saying that I have 2 cups of coffee a day that are about yay high, and if I have a big one, then I get consumed with going back to the microwave to warm it up to make sure that it's hot. And yeah, it's just I haven't tried one of those Ember mugs, but yeah, I guess I could do that. I don't know. I sort of like the ritual of the pre-breakfast coffee and then the coffee with breakfast, and that's the right amount.
And those are your 2 cups.
Yep.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I need to go back to that. Okay, next time. Well, we don't usually talk in the morning, so I'm usually not drinking coffee during our sessions, but I think I'm giving myself this week. I'm like so bad at like starting. Are you like this? Like I feel like whenever I want to like start something, like okay, I'm gonna like commit to working out or cooking at home or making coffee at home. I'm like, okay, let me start on a Monday. Like it's like or let me start on the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month. Like it just feels wild to suddenly on Friday say, okay, this is the day that I'm making coffee from home. So
we're going to turn a new page now.
Yeah.
At the end of the week.
And I know that's like the opposite of what all like people like, wellness or whatever industries are like, start today. Don't keep putting it off. But no, I'm putting this off. I think probably through the weekend. I'm going to give myself a few days to wean off and get ready to start the new week making coffee at home.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think on the spectrum of daily habits that are potentially damaging us, Starbucks is like so like if the Starbucks is what like gets you out of bed and gets you excited to have your coffee, because I genuinely really like Starbucks coffee. I know that's not a cool thing to admit.
Yeah.
I like whatever their dark roast is. I know that they burn their beans supposedly, but I don't know. I think that's the taste I like. So yeah, if I'm in an airport, happy to have Starbucks coffee. If I'm in a foreign country that is known to have a good coffee culture, like yes, I will
Of
seek
course.
out yeah, the local something that's local and great, but I find nothing wrong with Starbucks. If that's also it because it goes back to that thing of being a ritual. If it's a ritual that like you enjoy, that's how you enjoy starting the day,
Yeah.
and it's
Well, I agree. I mean, I think I knew I had gone long enough. Two things happened. The first was when I pulled up to the drive-through window the other day, the person on the other side already knew my order. And I was like, "Oh my God,
but
I
I let that you're regular.
a
Yeah.
regular. It's my cheers." And then I went into the store because the drive-through line was really long. And the barista working there who's checking us out said that she recognized my nails. She's like, "Do you usually go to drive-through?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's
Oh,
like, "Oh
how
yeah, I
funny.
recognize your nails." I was like, "Oh, okay. Gosh, you guys are so perceptive on this drive-through camera."
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, is it yeah, was she commenting on it like that or like when you go to grab the
No, it had to be from when I grabbed it because like why would she
okay,
see my nails from like the ordering? Yeah, you're right. It had to be from like, but from when she handed the coffee,
could
she
be.
must have like noticed my nails.
Depends on
But
your
yeah, but yeah, I was like, okay, this is a sign that I've definitely become a regular. Gonna try to change that. But you're right. Sometimes we have to just like I've had a lot of it's been a busy time with work, and there is something that feels comforting about having getting out of the house, like even if it's just in a car for 15 minutes to go pick up
right.
coffee, and then having a big coffee as I like really helps me with like writing and morning writing, emails, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I I don't know. I mean, if you feel like you need to start brewing coffee again, I fully support you. However, if you need someone to say you should continue this habit and not feel guilty about it because it's letting you get your morning started off on the right foot and it's a ritual that I believe in, then I will be that person too. I'm
I
happy to be that
appreciate that.
person. I'll be
Yeah.
your cheerleader either way. Yeah, like I think you know this about me that I'm one of those people that's like, well, what do you want to do? Because then I think that's what you should do.
Yes, like you will enable there's
Yeah.
you're enabling in the best way. Yes. No, I we're gonna test
Yes.
this out. We'll see how the shift to at home coffee goes. But you're right. If it's not working, then maybe we scrap it and postpone it for a later date.
There you go. Did you catch Ultimatum at all or
I didn't watch it, but I did get a lot of clips in Instagram from it. So I feel like all the highlights were pushed to me by the
yeah.
algorithm because it heard us talking about it or texting about it.
Probably. I think that and so I stopped watching I don't know, somewhere after the couples that were left had paired off with their new temporary uh partners and moved into these Vegas furnished apartments and like were like essentially playing house and like pretending to be married the whole thing is such a farce. And I know that like yes, it's reality TV, it's nothing new, like all of these kind of dating marriage competition shows are or like
Yeah.
experiment shows are like this. But I don't know, just the idea that you would go on national television and like blow up your relationship and then try to make a new one work with someone that you've known for about 2 hours,
Yeah.
move in with them, like you're meeting each other's parents and your parents are weighing in on what your relationship is and your ex who is like so the person that you've spent like years with and we're ready to marry. It's or I guess almost like either ready to marry or been together for long enough that the other person said, hey, we're going on this show because you're not ready and I am. It's so bizarre and it seems so I would think that anyone who would put themselves in this situation would have to just want to do it to build a following and find a fan base and then become like a content creator, reality TV circuit star. I don't know. But for the most part, all of the people on the show felt like relatively normal, just like okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing this thing because I'm really hoping that it's going to change my relationship, or maybe I'm just deluded, and of course they all want fame and notoriety, and like this is their way to get it, and they're going to parlay it into that, because I think like only two of the couples are still together, and especially once they show once you see, I don't, even if you, they don't really talk about any of the physical stuff. I assume that like these people hook up or have sex or something. Like if you're going to potentially marry the temporary partner and you're living with them for 3 weeks, like wouldn't that, but they don't talk about it. They just like, there's one conversation in which one woman is alluding to the other that she's been intimate with the other woman's boyfriend, but they don't go into detail. And I don't know, it's a weird, like, that part of this show feels very chaste. But I also stopped watching because it was so depressing. It was just depressing to see the kind of behavior that some of these women were putting up with, like the way that these men were talking to them, like, you're embarrassing me, you're embarrassing us, my family, you need to stop acting so close to this man, like you're trying to make me mad. And it's like, this was the point of this absolutely bizarre show that you signed up to do, and it feels bad for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like, have you guys all tried couples counseling? Because it seems like that is obviously the way to assess whether you should, a better way to assess whether you should stay together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand this concept of, like, the premise itself is ridiculous. I watched one season of it, and the season I watched might have been the first season, but none of the temporary couples actually got together. Like, everyone, either the original couples broke up or the original couples like stayed together.
But I think it's the same here.
It's such a stupid concept, because the idea is like, okay, these couples have been together for years. One person has reached the point where they're ready to get married. The other person is not ready to get married. So then let's go see if you get paired with some other random person, you're now going to feel more inclined to marry them or pursue a relationship with them. And like what?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of magic has to happen for someone to go on a reality TV show with their partner, like pretend break up with them, move in with someone else, and after 3 weeks feel like, hey, you know what? I want to marry this someone else. I don't like. Of course, it could happen, but it's like wizardry.
Yeah, especially if it's the person who is hesitant to get married. Either way, I mean, like, the couple's been together long enough or serious for long enough to where one of them feels like marriage is the next step. So it's like, these aren't casual dating situations.
Right.
On this season, or the season that just aired, as much as you watched, was it the case that all of the women were the ones who wanted to get married and the men were resistant, or was it a mix?
No, it was a mix. There were at least 2 couples where the man had brought it up. And and the woman was the one on the fence. But I think that I mean, look, the shows that have been made for the sake of entertainment that just damage all the people who sign themselves up for it, thinking, I don't know what they're thinking, if they want money, fame, XYZ. Like, this is just this one. Maybe it baffles me so much because at least on something like Love is Blind or even The Bachelor, like, you're having like a somewhat like luxurious, exotic experience where you like Love is Blind. You're in this beautiful villa. You're in, where are they? Fiji? Like
That's
you're
only if
in.
you get past the pods, though, right? Like that's only if you couple off
Oh,
in
is
the
that?
pods. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about Love Island. I'm sorry.
Oh, Love Island.
I
Yes, yes,
misspoke.
yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay, no. Yeah. Well, Love is Blind. The whole thing about the pods is so strange. But the thing about this is like you don't have like a honeymoon period. You're living in a apartment in Vegas, and I don't think anything. Maybe you have like a meal allowance, but these people are like making tacos together on like a Wednesday night. They're talking about like, okay, what's our morning routine going to be? We're going to like wake up and work out, and then we're going to do some work. And I'm like, the idea of living my regular life with someone that I just met for 3 weeks, like, no, I would like run from that screaming.
Yeah.
Get me
Well,
on the next flight home. Why would I do that?
it's also not your regular life, right? Like, even if you
Right.
are kind of like playing house in a city that's not yours, where you're
Right.
barely interacting with your friends and family, or if you do, cameras are around, you're probably not going to work the way that you normally would.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the whole
Exactly.
thing is still fake. So, like, you're not really going to gauge much about whether this would even transition well into the real world because it is so like concocted.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. It's a whole, the entire thing is fabricated. The whole meeting of the parents, like I can't imagine how awkward that would be to obviously their parents know that they're going on this show, and so they are expecting this to happen. It's not like news, but it's how are you going to compare someone that you've been living with for a week to someone that you've been with for 5, 6, 7 years, gone through major life events with, and then say like, oh no, yeah, that person treats you better, sure. Like they're brand new. They literally just, you may not even know each other's last names. Like, what is happening?
And there's also nothing that sounds worse to me than having the, entire Netflix consuming audience, like all of these strangers, know about your relationship. Like, it's one
Yeah.
thing, I don't know, like it's like I don't know how you come back from that. Like the fact that, for eternity, these conversations, this dynamic, this fight, the crazy things that your partner has said about
Yeah.
you, like has all been recorded. And I mean, like, if you had issues going into it, you're certainly going to have so many more issues after. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
never. I like, if I were to do a TV show with my significant other, like, actually, I think Juan and I have joked about this, but we would something like The Amazing Race, like, some
That was
that's
so
like
good.
that's one thing,
That's
but
a
like
perfect one.
yeah, but to like go on a show that's literally about the problems in your that focuses on the problems in your relationship and actually tries to like
Yeah.
get more complicated, that sounds like a total nightmare.
Yeah, it's also, because you're not like so many of the things in a relationship that can become sources of pain, or just, the arguments that you keep coming back to are not things that you're going to figure out in those first 3 weeks. Like the beginning of any relationship is a honeymoon period where like wherever you are, and you are not going to, like, you shouldn't be having those like explosive arguments, or coming back and nitpicking the same subjects, because you don't have enough of a history together. Everything is like new. Like, you're finding out that this person likes ranch dressing on their pizza, and you're finding out that they like they want to like sit by the pool, and then that's like their idea of a good Saturday afternoon. Um the the idea that it would, I mean, yeah, I guess you're like test drive. It's like test driving a new car. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to find out from the test drive of a SUV, like, is this car going to no, this analogy is not going anywhere, but that is essentially
Well, it's a good thing for
that is
people to
essentially what
watch
it is.
about like what to avoid, because some of these people are super toxic, their relationship dynamics are awful. And so I feel like it can be a good watch
Yeah.
just from like oh, I'm so grateful that my partner's not like this, or I'm so grateful that we were more aligned when it came to our future. Or if you're single, to say like, yeah, this is why
Yeah.
I'm holding out for the right person, because there is a lot of like toxicity out there and people putting up with a lot of BS that like humans
A
should not put
lot
up
of
with.
yeah, and a lot of like there's one guy in particular, Killian, who talks he talks horribly to both the temporary wife and his ex-girlfriend, and like talks badly about them to each other. And so the temporary wife is telling the ex-girlfriend like, after we you should not be with this guy after we this show ends, because the stuff that he's told me about you, like, he is just not he's not a good person. He's
Not
not
a
a
good
good
person.
boyfriend. And this woman, his girlfriend is just sitting there and like being, sort of like nodding, and you can tell it's like it's not even she's hearing all this horrible stuff about the man that she spent like 4 years with, and she's like, well, you don't know everything, which is true, but it's so embarrassing, and so I don't know. They aren't together anymore. Spoiler alert. But
Thank God.
like at least yeah. So I guess maybe that is the value of this show. It does show the people who go on their worth, or shines a light on like, hey, this is behavior that maybe you just shouldn't accept.
Yeah, and maybe the level of accountability that you feel like you need to take when the entire world has seen it. Like it's, one thing if it's just
Totally.
your partner, not that you should treat this differently, but if like the entire world is like, you guys need to break up, like, did you see what he said on on television to everybody? Like, then it might be the thing that finally lets you
Exactly.
pull
Should
the
at least
trigger.
make you question. Yeah.
Well, you will not be finding either of us on The Ultimatum or any relationship reality TV shows
Uh-uh.
anytime soon. Those are influencer
No.
careers we will pass gladly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No. But I would love to see you on The Amazing Race. I would totally watch that.
Yeah, I think, if I were going to do a reality TV show, that would probably be one of them. So never going to happen, but actually, I shouldn't say never. You never know.
Never say
Um,
never.
yeah. Do you guys have some fun plans for the evening? Oh, you're going to go to the club for the sunset. Nice.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna take a shower. Was contemplating a quick dip in the pool, but I don't think I have time. I'm gonna take a shower, let the hair do what it wants to do, throw on a dress,
Throw on the
catch a,
clubbing
catch
fit.
a, yeah, catch a beautiful sunset.
Amazing. Have the best time and say hi to your mom for me.
I will. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Love ya.
Love you.
Bye.